Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin says the Pentagon will give Israel everything it needs to wage war on Hamas, even as it continues its strong support of Ukraine in its war with Russia. Austin visited Israel yesterday, and this morning in Brussels, before the deal to allow U.S. citizens to leave Gaza, he sat down with Nick Schifrin for an exclusive one-on-one interview.
Mr. Secretary, thank you very much for your time. Welcome.
It's good to see you, Nick.
We're about 36 hours after Israel called for an evacuation of Gaza City, 1.1 million people. Do you agree overall with Israel's evacuation order at this point?
Well, I'll let Israel speak to its decisions. It's not my place to evaluate their approach to anything. What I'm focused on, Nick, is making sure that we provide them the security assistance that they need to protect their sovereign territory and to protect their people. And that's why I was there. I had a good day with Minister of Defense, spent some time with the Prime Minister. As you saw, I spoke to Minister Gallant on Saturday of last week.
Right after the attack.
Right after the attack. He expressed a need for air-to-ground munitions, precision-guided weapons, and we're going to continue to do everything we can to provide them the support that they need.
Yesterday, a senior IDF official was talking to me during our visit, and he dismissed any concerns, humanitarian concerns, about the evacuation. He said, look, we're at war. The evacuation is Hamas's problem. Do you think that the evacuation is Hamas's problem, or does Israel need to consider the humanitarian effects of the evacuation?
I think anytime you construct and plan an operation, you have to account for civilians that are part of that landscape. And we talked about that, and we talked about the need to make sure that, as you conduct your operations, you construct safe zones and corridors so civilians can transit the area and move out of the way of the hostilities.
Did you ask them to create those humanitarian corridors?
We talked about that, yes.
Are you asking Israel to delay a ground invasion until those safe corridors can be established?
We are not asking Israel to delay or to speed up. That's their call, Nick. My focus is to support them, provide them the security assistance they need so that they can be effective in the battle space.
Zooming out, do you think that Israel can accomplish its stated goals, which are capturing or killing all Hamas leaders, destroying the group's military units, and making it impossible for Hamas to govern Gaza at a reasonable cost to human life in Gaza?
Well, I won't assess their goals or speculate as to whether or not they're going to be successful. What I have asked them to do is to be thoughtful about how they select their objectives and take into consideration the entire battle space, what's in that battle space, civilians, you name it. This is a very complex environment, potentially, Nick. This is an urban environment, and this is probably a three-dimensional battle because, as you know, Hamas has constructed a number of tunnels under the city. And so if they conduct a campaign into the city, a land campaign, they'll have to account for that. They've done this before. They've learned lessons, and so they really have to think this through, and I think they will.
Yesterday, standing next to Minister Gallant, you said this is time for resolve, not revenge, and you reiterated what President Biden said, that it was important to uphold the laws of war. Do you believe so far Israel has upheld the laws of war?
I haven't been in the battle space, Nick. I can only just see the images that you've seen, and again, this is very complex. And we'll have time to make those assessments going forward, but I would continue to encourage them to be professional, the leaders to do the right things and to remain focused on the right things, and keep in mind all those things that they were trained to do and conduct their operations in a very responsible manner.
I spent a lot of time in Gaza, and a lot of Gazans do not support Hamas. Do you believe that they have to pay the price, though, given Hamas launched the attack from that territory?
As you pointed out, Hamas is not the Palestinian people. These are separate entities, and so I do not think that the people should pay the price for the actions of this terrorist organization.
What's your assessment right now of the chances of Lebanese Hezbollah opening up a second front?
Well, that possibility is always there. We would highly discourage any entity, any country, any organization from doing that. As you saw, Nick, when this happened, we rapidly moved a carrier battle group into the region, and that carrier battle group provides us with a number of options. So you heard President Biden say the other day that if anybody's ever is thinking about this, you know, we would say don't.
Is the U.S. prepared to attack Lebanese Hezbollah if it opens up a second front?
I won't speculate on what we will or will not do, but you know, again, the important part is we have options. We have the combat capability to deter.
Does deterrence get more difficult as the fight in Gaza gets more protracted and gets even more bloody?
It certainly will.
Israeli government officials have embraced the idea that this is their 9/11. You were in the middle of two wars that the United States has fought since 9/11, and I wonder if you have any lessons learned over the past 20 years from your own experience that might apply to Israel's moment today and going forward.
One of the things that we learned is that you have to really think through next steps. You have to be very thoughtful about that because they will have long-term implications. Don't operate on reflex activity. Think through what you're going to do, what implications it's going to have for the country, for the region, and beyond.
Mr. Secretary, thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you for this opportunity to testify before you today.
Populated areas. Stop supporting the genocide and ethnic cleansing of the people of Gaza. Cease fire now. Save the children of Gaza.
We're standing up for our interests and values, not shrinking back. Not in the face of Russia's aggression against Ukraine. Not in the face of an intensifying strategic competition in the Indo-Pacific and around the world.
If the witness will suspend, and I ask that everyone again respect this hearing, we will suspend until the room is cleared.
Is calling for a ceasefire. Shame on you all.
Our diplomacy, our development must work hand in hand.
Committee will suspend, and again, I appreciate that people feel passionately about these issues. I would ask that you respect our witnesses and our committee members and allow the American people to hear their testimony.
Come on, I'm an Army colonel, I'm a former diplomat, I resigned on that war in Iraq that you talked about. That was a terrible thing, and what we're doing right now in supporting Israel's genocide